Hello and welcome everyone to Women Speakers Association's WSA TV Premier Women's Show. I'm Laura Rubenstein, your host and producer. And as you can see, we have the founder of Women Speakers Association with us today, Gail Watson, to talk to us about how to become a best-selling author. Welcome, Gail.
This is an exciting time. Happy to be here and can't wait to talk about this.
I know, I'm excited too, because we just had the launch and the successful campaign of a best-selling book, the one that's right behind you, Voices of the 21st Century,
Yeah.
Bold, Brave, and Brilliant Women Who Make a Difference. And not only was it a bestseller, it was a bestseller in 4 categories and internationally. That was huge. That doesn't happen all the time, right?
Not at all. It was, in fact, it hit best new release in 4 different countries. And that's quite simply the power of collaboration and global reach. Thank you, Women Speakers Association, all you
Yay!
members. Thank you.
Yeah, so that's a part of, by publishing as a part of the Women Speakers Association and the WSA Publishing Company and having multiple authors, we have a power collective here that really sets us apart and differentiates us. But let's back up a bunch. Let's talk about why should speakers, I mean, we are the Women Speakers Association after all, consider writing a book.
Okay, well, there's many different answers, but the bottom line is you have been gifted with a message, right? So that message is inside of you. And when we talk about getting it out, there's a variety of different ways to do that. We can speak, we can put it in writing, so we can sing it. There's so many different ways. People express their messages differently. Um, but the women that come in Women Speakers Association, I mean, you have a passion idea, you're wanting to build a business. So one of the fastest ways to do that is go out and speak about it. But then we can start talking about reach, right? When we um, put our words into a book, they become very powerful. They become forever imprinted, and that book can then travel and travel around the world. So having doing a book, to answer your question, I know I just went in a big circle there. To answer your question, Laura, why should speakers have a book, is because it accomplishes some things quickly right out of the gate. One, it builds your credibility. Instantly you're recognized as an expert. Okay. uh, Second, it's a phenomenal leveraging tool to get yourself more speaking opportunities, to get booked on media. Because one of the very first questions they will ask is, do you have a book? All right. So that's really important. And so it's by leveraging that allows you that ability. And then the third thing is it helps to increase your speaker fees. So if you're a speaker out there and you're getting paid this much, not much, zero, a way to get paid is to do bulk sale books prior to. So we work with a lot of our authors and teaching them how to do that ahead of time, so that while an event might not hire you, pay you, they may consider bulk buying your book for all the attendees. So there's a variety of different ways.
I love the idea of having this book for an alternative way to get paid for, your speaking, because it is a challenge, especially for newer speakers, to get the higher fees. But you add in the, first of all, a book, and second of all, a best-selling book into the mix, then they have a reason and something tangible they can walk away with, and something that feels also differentiates you as a speaker for that. So that is super
Yeah.
powerful. So, I mentioned this a little bit, but maybe you can talk a little deeper into it. Is what's the difference between just having a book and a best-selling book?
Everything.
Really?
Here's the difference. I'm going to introduce you today to our stage, Laura Rubenstein, author of what's the name of your book?
Social media myths
Social
busted.
Media Myths Busted. Okay, Laura Rubenstein, author of Social Media Myths Busted. I'd like to welcome to the stage Laura Rubenstein, international best-selling author of Social Media Myth Busted. Okay.
Woohoo!
Who doesn't want to listen to now, but where that becomes stronger, I want you to visualize here is, say there's a conference program, right? And we're opening up that conference program and we're deciding who do we go see in the breakouts, right? And we have that name, Laura Rubenstein, international best-selling author, right? That is an attention getter. It draws people in. And the back end of that, behind the curtain, your event planner knows that. And when it comes to their decision-making process, because they've already got that visual in mind already, looking at that pamphlet, they've already got it in mind of what they want to put in there. Okay. So it makes their decision-making process of who they put into that brochure a big difference. But also I used to put on live events monthly for 7 years. It was and these are your luncheon type events. The draw that I would always look for in my speakers is those international best-selling, award-winning, right? Those kind of words, because what that did for me, because my business was the event, I wanted people into my event. So the more sizzle I could put out there, brought people in. So
Yeah, credibility is everything, when you're going to speak and you're not known. So it's just that higher level puts you on a higher playing field in another league,
in
positions.
another league. And there's
Yeah.
a big difference between best-selling author and international best-selling author. International best-selling author is not an easy achievement. And I'm not talking about a best-selling book campaign, right? I'm talking about you get that claim of being called an international best-selling author versus,
Nice.
versus
So
author.
versus just an author, right?
Just an
And I love it when it does have a really nice ring. And I've been a best-selling author, but now because of the power of WSA Publishing, I'm an international best-selling author. So I am super. I need to get my introduction to be up to now. I can use that. I'm excited. So
well.
yeah,
Can I just add one more thing about international best-selling author? When
yeah,
you can start to brand that, that starts to go on all your social media. You can put it on all your products. If you have workbooks, webinars, all that, you get that title. That just boosts. It just elevates everything.
yeah. And I'd like to give a shout out to everybody who's watching now. If you have a best-selling book or a book you've written and you want to put it in the chat, we'd love to shout out to you for sure and get you
Absolutely.
involved in the game here today. And for those of you who don't, and I have a question for you, Gail, is like, okay, if you have just a bestseller or you have a book or you don't even have a book, what's the easiest way to become a best-selling author
An international best-selling author.
or an international best-selling author? Sure, let's do that.
Well, that's been a question that's been floating around in Women Speakers Association for years. And a couple years ago, as a team, we decided that what can we do to help our members achieve this? Because to go out on your own, I mean, we're meeting lots and lots of authors. They go out on their own. It gets very expensive. It's time consuming. And it really is an overwhelming process. It's, so what we put together was a collaborative book that's called Voices of the 21st Century. We produced it. It's a second time producing it. We're doing another call for authors right now. If it continues, it continues. Um, but it is all about creating an experience that allows an individual to come in, share their story, and participate through the leverage of sharing costs and the group to be able to achieve an international best-selling author. So when I think about all the women that came into this one that we just released last month, right? They, um, they were all in different parts of the world, but now the book that they're in, is that they all have the claim to fame that they are co-author in this book and that they are international best-selling authors, right? So it affects everything in their product line. Some authors have, some people who contributed their stories have multiple books. Some were first timers. Most people were first timers. But the people that had the multiple books, when I asked them, I said, why do you want to, why would, what is attracting you to this opportunity? And I would get the answer, well, this is a no-brainer with the publicity of being and the understanding already of what it would mean to be an international best-selling author, something that they had not achieved in their prior books, right? So it is designed as a marketing opportunity to put your message in print, to be able to get it out and to get it out in a very big way, draw attention.
Yeah. And for me personally, this was the second time I was in the Voices book, and I almost didn't choose to go in. And then all of a sudden, it dawned upon me, I have this deck of wisdom cards that I've been wanting to write a book for with the Feminine Power cards. And um, I've needed to jumpstart that. And I did because I added a chapter, which is one of the chapters from that book. And now I have 50 women and this whole campaign and Women Speakers Association disseminating this book with my promoting my forthcoming book, which is so cool. For me, it definitely enhanced my ability. And now I have another product that I can add and bundle with those cards, which is
Yeah.
this anthology. And a lot of people call these books anthologies. I want to make a distinction. The technical term is anthology, but maybe you can say why you call it a collaborative book.
Yeah, we changed the words, okay, because I don't like those other books. Because so we call it a collaborative book because it is truly a mission and journey of collaboration. It encompasses every single nook and cranny of this book is done in collaboration. And Laura, do you have your book handy in Voices? I'm going to use that. I want to use yours as a to showcase it here in just a second. But what we are doing is we are sharing, we share in the costs, we share in the marketing, uh, but there's much bigger picture to this. We actually share in the support of one another and the promotion of one another. We have when our authors come together, they're in a private community where we get to know each other, get to know one another's stories, and that's a really important journey to have an experience to have, because sometimes when we go into something, quite often we can stop doing it for ourselves and we can let ourselves down. But what I do know about women is we will not let somebody else down. So just by sheer um, we have that innate ability, we want to support one another, we will continue to support. At the same time, we are bringing ourselves along in a very giving fashion. So it is collaborative. And when we talk about that, is everybody shares in that front page spotlight. So Laura, if you can, I don't, are we on speaker view or gallery view? Because I want
Yes and yes.
yes and yes, because I want them to see you holding up. So maybe if you, because I want the camera to go to you, so you'll
Yeah.
have to talk.
Okay. So here is my book, and you can see that the bottom has my name on it. Is that what you're wanting me to
Yeah.
show? And
So,
then on the back, that's my picture.
and bio, and on the spine,
And on the spine, whose name is it?
just yours, just Laura Rubenstein. So this becomes really important because we know that when you have this book, so you have this book now, what? How are you? It's all designed for you to market. It's all designed for you to grow your business. It's all designed to draw attention. So if you're approaching the media because we're giving, we're teaching you how to send out a press release to media, well, they want you to be up on that TV holding up your book. So when you're being introduced as co-author in Voices of the 21st Century, we have international best-selling author Laura Rubenstein here with us. When that book is held up, your name is present. So every single author coming into this book has what's called a custom cover, both front and back. So pictures, names, and then on the spine, it's only your name. And that was designed specifically just simply for pride purposes, because I know when those books, when they arrive into your office and they're sitting up on your shelf, or if they're in a store or on a display, We want your name put forward. This is your book. And that's why it's collaborative, because it is your book too.
Yeah, and I have to say that the experience of doing the collaborative books, I've done other anthologies, was totally unique. It was a connective experience and a higher value. Yes, other places have given training, but the training we got was far beyond anything I've ever had before. The author connections, okay, so I got invited to go to collaborative book signings. So some of the other authors in the area put together book signings. So you can do collaborative book signings, which makes it really super easy to get the word out about you as a speaker, to get the word out of you about your expertise, and to sell some books. It's really nice. And it's really awesome that you have a community that you can go to with it. Plus, you have the whole Women's Speakers Association behind you. I really felt the power of that. When we launched it, we weren't just launching it to the universe, but we were launching it to Women's Speakers Association, the membership at large too, and the community that we have on Facebook as well. So it's just been a really cool experience. If anybody has questions, now is a really great time to put them in the chat on Facebook, at Women Speakers Association's main page. You may be listening other places, but I'm checking over here on the main
Okay.
page. And also you can check out the different ways to get involved. Do you want to talk about getting involved with the next book?
Sure. So we've done things up a little bit differently based on the last two books, because all the authors, we come into it, and some have different needs, okay, than others, and we're all in different parts of our journey. Okay. One thing you need to know: there's no one greater. There's no message greater in this book, or no message less in this book than your message. Everyone is treated equal. That's a must. You have to know that. So the experience, if you went to voicesofthe21stcentury.com, you will see that we've put out the package of what's called the co-author package, which includes you putting in your story, which includes all the working with an editor to, and the editor's job is to make you look good, and, helping you show up as that writer. It has the full production team, has the training, all of that, the custom cover. So you'll see all of that. Now, some authors, or this might be yourself, is saying, I want more exposure. Now, one thing Women's Speakers Association does bring to the table is we're able to leverage our reach. So we have a wide variety of ways of doing that. So in that next level, we call it publicity. You still get all the same in that co-author experience in terms of getting your story out there, with the exception of you get an extra 1,000 words. Okay. But then you're talking about customized graphics with your picture on it. You're talking about personalized press releases, right? You're talking about spotlight interviews. You're talking about being on what we call a promotional tour within Women's Speakers Association, where you're continually, for the rest of the year, your interview is being distributed um, and promoted. Okay, and then we do have another level, and it's called growth. And that is what's added into that is really a lot of personalized coaching, really working with the strategies of your business overall, where that book fits in, strategically using it. It also includes a course that we have that gets offered. It's called Your Book as a Business, that goes into depth with scripts and templates, you name it, a full on action plan that's personalized to you, that keeps your book in action. Because once your book comes out, we want to keep it in action. We want to keep it moving and keep it going. So there's something for everybody, no matter where you're at. Um, but definitely, I mean, that co-author experience is phenomenal, and it gets your story out. And April, and I want you just to fast forward a little bit, 6 months from now, April 2020, when you'll wake up one morning and you will be an international best-selling author.
What I love about that is it's not like you have to do it right this second. You do have to make a commitment, but it's not like everything is due right away.
No.
We space it out in a way that it feels really natural and comfortable, and you get the deadlines, you get the support. We do community meetings on Zoom to support you step by step, hold your hand through this, make sure you get it, work with you on your ideas, even give you a buddy. I mean, my buddy, hi, I see her. She's on. Hi, Deb. Thanks for being here. I see her watching with us.
Was
You
Deb
know,
your buddy?
Deb was my buddy
Oh.
for both books, and I couldn't have done it without my buddy. And that was just, if you need a buddy, great. If you don't, you don't have to have one, but it's definitely an option to have that. And it was just a really joyful experience. And I've been savoring all the stories. The cool thing is the stories are 1,000 words. They're really easy to read, 5 minutes, maybe seven if you're slow like me. So slow reader, but they're 2.5 pages, or yeah, 2.5 pages to 3 pages. It's just easy to read. And I tell you, my life was changed by reading some of these stories. Well, each story. I read like 3 or 4 one night, and I'm like, I felt totally different after reading them than when I sat down initially. And I was like, wow, I didn't even realize the power of the book. I knew these women were inspiring. I knew they had something to tell me, and they did. They did. And so the thing I like, so this, I want to bring attention to this. Voices of the 21st century. If you love that idea that women are the voices of the 21st century, that's what hooked me. That was what hooked me for the first book. It was like, yeah, we matter, and the more I keep writing this and contributing, the more my voice matters. The more women's voices matter. And if I'm not going to do it, who's going to do it?
Yeah,
And if everybody says that to themselves, every woman says that to herself, we're changing the world.
absolutely. We are truly at a defining moment in history where women's voices are rising. And the beautiful thing with that is it's having such strong impact, creating change. I mean, it, the voices that are rising, and when we look at this book as well, the voices that have rose in this book, I mean, they truly stir up the dialogue. They definitely challenge the status quo and really bringing light to those once dark topics that we weren't allowed to talk about, but now we do. Because I'm telling you, by stepping into your message and sharing it, and yes, sometimes it can be scary, and that's okay, because that's why we create a really safe, collaborative environment, is that it enables, if we start to look ahead, it enables us to empower those upcoming women. It empowers others to share their story. It it allows people the opportunity to get to know us. I mean, think of this a couple generations ahead, because we are in this defining moment in time, and because there'll be kids in schools researching women in this early 21st century. They're going to see your story, not just, so this is our platform. We're not celebrities, right? So we don't get that big voice on Twitter and things like that. So this is our platform to do so. You are a voice of the 21st century. It's your responsibility to share it, to share your message. It truly, truly is. Get it down. And, the mission of WSA Publishing was that no woman should die with her story in her, right? And something that just happened in our book, and I'd really like to honor her, is one of our authors, just after our book came out, suffered a massive heart attack and passed away. And it hit us all really hard. But as we were able to process that information, what we realized was, you know what? Her message is out. Her message is out. And how beautiful that perhaps it may be at um, her funeral, that they're able to share her story, share her words, and people get to see that she got her message out. So um, that's why it serves all different aspects. This is about you getting your message out for sure.
Yeah. Thank you for bringing that up. How important this book became as
Yeah,
someone passed away. It's really powerful. And I want to also acknowledge Evie Hernandez here, who says, "We women are powerful." Yes, we are indeed. We definitely are. And that's why we need to keep sharing our messages out there, because we can keep it all to ourselves and not tell the world. But like you said, Gail, we have a responsibility to use that power productively and positively and wisely to make an impact, the impact of positive change that you
yeah,
want to see, and or to just keep the momentum going of the positivity that's already there. And if we don't do it, who's going to do it?
absolutely. These books are so important because they have such it's been an odd feeling actually as time goes on and I run into people and they say, "Oh, I have your book." And I go, "You do?" Right? It's a strange thing. It's a strange feeling because and they say they enjoyed this story or that story and there's just one or two that jump out. And it's interesting because we've designed the book in a way. So I just flipped it open, right? But we've designed it in a way, I'm holding it up to the camera, that the page prior to the start of your chapter is blank. That's called a pause page. That's intentional. That's to give pause between stories because it's not really a book you read from beginning to end. It's just what speaks to me today, right? But it's also a place where the reader can take notes. It's a place where if you were out speaking and you had people and the audience had a copy of this book and you go, please turn to page 120. My story starts there. And what I'd like to do is put one question in there for you and they can write it down right there in the book or something. I don't know. But book clubs can do it. You can have all sorts of fun things. But the bottom line is these are real women, they're real lives, real stories, all different kinds. The variety is massive from all around the world. You get to know these ladies and sharing their experience. And I promise you, your jaw will drop on any of them. You just,
They will. Oh my gosh, yes. So interesting and unique and powerful. I love that pause page too. I thought of a couple other things people can do with the pause page. One,
oh,
they can personally sign it there,
uh-huh.
and if you're going to do one of those events, you can tell the event planner that you'll personally write something different in each of the books that is a nugget that then can be used as a group exercise, right? And that they could each share with each other and do some interactive play and get people involved with the book. Um, and then the other thing is you have a place to put your bookmark if you want to create a bookmark for it so that people open right to your page and it's just you. It's not the end of somebody else's chapter. It's the beginning of yours. So it was a brilliant move on the part. It gives a little bit extra bulk to the book, and cost, but I think it's well worth it for the authors, every author in there. So
Yes.
again, we want people to go to Voices of the 21st, that's 21st century, voices of the 21st century.com. I put the link in the
Oh,
Facebook
good.
chat for everybody and in the comments on Women Speakers Association's business page on Facebook. And just check it out because if you've thought about becoming a bestseller, this is how to do it.
This is how you do it. And just go,
Easy, easy. In
yeah.
collaboration. That's what we do best as women, right?
So, and we want to make this an easy opportunity for you. So when you go in there and so if you're approaching it, um, yes, there's a fee and you can see that and you can kind of get that in your mind. So if that's fitting within your budget, and you want to get your story out, then fill in the application because the next step is you and I will have a personal one-on-one call and we'll talk about your story and we'll make sure it's a right fit for both of us, right? So we want to make sure that's happened. And we do have some spots left. Applications are closing within the next, I think it's next week. So don't delay because my calendar is filling up quite heavily with, already I'm vetting out some stories right now. So um, get your application in now. Don't delay. And so we can get some time on the calendar together. Okay.
Yeah, I love that. I love the process too here. You're not committing to put down all your money today. We don't pressure you into that. In fact, it's best to have a conversation first to make sure this is a good fit for you. So if you want to have that conversation, fill out the application. It's not committing you to anything at this point. Although, if you have a message and there's something in you is saying, this might be a good thing. Talk to Gail because Gail, you're so good at clarifying, getting people to get really clear on what's right and what's not right. I mean, you tell people to walk away if it's not right. So,
Oh,
um,
absolutely. Yeah.
so
I would let you know for sure.
yeah,
We want this to be right. It's not about just collecting stories and pushing out a book. Not at all. This
mhm.
book has purpose. It has intention. It has meaning. There's going to be 49 other people involved with this book, including you. So it has to. We all have to be on the same page. We all have to be with the same vision and mission, because that's what makes it successful. And that's my role, is really vetting out those stories to make sure everybody is on the same page, and so that we all run together nicely,
Yes.
play together nicely.
So we look forward to welcoming those of you who it makes sense for into the next Voices of the 21st Century. Go to voicesofthe21stcentury.com and check it out. And if you have any questions, fill in the application so you can start talking to Gail.
Yes,
Any final words or anything we missed talking about today, Gail?
I'm just really excited. And one thing I just want to make the point is, because I hear this all the time in the beginning, and I said those words myself. I said, "Who wants to read my story? Who? I don't even have a story. I don't have a lot of drama in my life. You know what I mean? I've met a lot of members who have these wild pasts, and just the resilience of women is outstanding. And so coming into the process, I've met so many that have felt the same way and were nervous about sharing their story, and they have since come out and said, uh, in such gratitude, and saying this was a life changer for them, because their story is out, because the experience is, first of all, we understand the fear, we understand, uh, if you where is my story, I don't even know what it is. We work with you on extracting it, because you're so close to it, sometimes you can't find it, so we want to work with you in extracting that story. And once it's out, it's phenomenal. So we want to really partner with you on this. So
So we will see you there.
absolutely.
All right. Well, everyone, will be back next week with another episode of Women Speakers Association's WSA TV Premier Women's Show. And until then, we'll see you on the book journey. Bye for now.
Bye.